Hi, everyone, and welcome back to 40 Cray, the podcast by two almost 40-something dudes who, despite having a ton of adult responsibilities and real-life issues, still love dumb, nerdy stuff like Warhammer and video games and can't get enough of it. I'm Ben, and of course, as always, I'm joined by Tommy Bones. Tom, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. All right, well, good. Glad we had this conversation.
Good talk, son.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, podcast over. Bye. No, just kidding. For this, what even episode are we on? I think this is episode 5.
5? Yeah, sounds about right.
That's crazy. We've done as many episodes, or will have, as we have fingers on one hand. I'm assuming you have 5 fingers. I don't think you have 6, right?
Yes.
Oh, well, my apologies then.
We will very soon surpass the number of Firefly episodes.
Yeah. Boy, we should do an episode on Firefly, because I don't get it.
I hurt myself on that one. That stings.
Yeah, ow, Firefly. I don't know why they haven't brought it back. Anyway, tonight we're going to be covering 2 main topics. We want to talk a little bit about Kill Team up front. We're going to react to an announcement that the Indominus Crusade box models are going to get rules in Kill Team and already have started getting them. And then we're going to talk a bit about an epic issue that, Tom, you and I face a lot. How do we make a competitive Heretic Astartes and Imperial Astartes team, given that they kind of suck in the current meta? From there, Tom, I know you recently purchased a Chaos Knight that you spent a long time putting together, and I probably painted it excellently by now. Here's spoilers. I don't get knights. I don't like them. I don't trust them. And Tom, you're going to try to plead your case. You're going to tell me why they're awesome and cool and why I should like them.
Okay.
All right, good. Glad we were in agreement. So that's the 2 things. So Tom, first thing, Indominus Crusade. You're the one who actually flagged this for me. What did they? It was just a Warhammer community article, right? So they just kind of previewed a couple things, I think.
Yes, you know how they love to do a teaser every so often. They'll put out a little bit of information before the full release. So they released rules for the Assault Intercessor and the Necron Warrior with the Gauss Reaper, the new gun.
And they kind of so they showed the stat line for the Assault Intercessor and for the Necron Warrior, but I mean it's the same stat line that Intercessors and Warriors have. I think it was just a preview and like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like, hey, they're going to get the Astartes Chainsword on the Assault Intercessor's point, and on the Necron point, just like, oh yeah, the Gauss Reaper is going to be a thing for them too.
Right.
Wait, but Gauss Reaper is just like a short range Gauss Flare, right?
Shorter range, better AP.
Got it. So is it still like a rapid fire 1?
I have my Indominus book here somewhere.
Did you buy the Indominus set?
I just got the Necron half. But
did you really? Oh, I guess you did start playing Necrons, right? Because you had that all, what was it, the Praetorian list or something?
Yeah. So I found someone selling the Necron half with the assembly guide, and rulebook, and also the Tesseract Glow. They included that. So that was cool of them.
That is cool. So I looked it up. So it looks like the Gauss Reaper, it's 14 inches instead of 24-inch range.
Yeah.
Rapid fire 1, but it's strength 5 and AP -2, where I think the Gauss Flare is strength 4 and AP -1.
Sounds.
And I mean, in Kill Team, well, I don't know. Like, I don't know how often they're going to be within 7 inches to get the 2 shots, but like 14 inches is not that far in Kill Team.
Yeah. And strength 5 is kind of a weird position to be at. You're not really doing any extra damage to guard or Marines.
You're just slightly more equivalent to like the Tau rank and file guns.
Yeah. I mean, I guess better against Death Guard.
Yeah, true. No, it is better against Marines, because then it's instead of 4 versus 4, it would be strength 5 versus toughness 4, so they get a bonus to the wound.
That's true.
So that could be kind of cool. I'll have to ask my brother. Plays a lot of Necron, so I can ask him what he thinks about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that blends itself into, well, before actually I was going to ask you about how do you make Astartes good, because spoilers, they kind of blow right now. In Kill Team, the Chainsword I think is going to make the Intercessor, the Assault Intercessor, a better option than the Reaver.
Mhm.
I mean, is that a controversial point of view?
I was never really a fan of the Reaver. Even the Sergeant gets like 5 attacks. But I'm just not crazy about 1 damage weapons. Not when there's a 50% chance you're actually going to kill it, or just give it a flesh wound.
I definitely agree. I'm trying to remember how many attacks Reavers have base, if it's 2 or 3. Of course, I'm trying to pull up like a battle scribe while we're talking here. This is great radio.
Yeah. So the Sergeant can end up with 5 if you make him
A combat.
And then I think the Knife gives you an extra attack. So he might have 3.
So it's 2 base plus the Knife basically gives you 3 if you're a standard Reaver.
Right.
So I mean, they can take the grav shoots, which lets them fall without a damage penalty, and the grapple, I don't know what those are, grappling hooks, grapnel shooters, which enable them to fly over terrain.
Right.
But otherwise, there's not really a reason to take them now if you get a chainsword that gives you an AP -1.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just the way we were playing, but fall damage never really came into play.
Yeah, it's because, well, we don't have that much verticality in the terrain we use. I also think, like, in the tournaments, they generally don't have a ton of terrain that you're climbing on top of.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not, I mean, it's certainly nowhere near as good as, say, like a Harlequin flip belt.
Right.
By the way, what is a flip belt? Like, they have a belt that lets them, like, it's just a weird name for a thing.
Some kind of anti-gravity, I think.
But, like, I don't know. Like, why a belt? I feel like they should, like, Mega Man it and make it as shoes.
They're going the Batman route.
Yeah, they're going the Harlequin Batman route. Actually, Harley Quinn, Batman.
Mm-hmm.
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 So now let's get into the other topic here. So maybe Assault Intercessors will be a good addition. Frankly, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference because in the current Kill Team meta, if you're running any kind of 2-wound Space Marine, at 100 points, you might get 5 models. At 125, you're talking about 6, maybe 7. Mm-hmm. And just with multi-damage weapons and these horde armies or hybrid armies that can take so many different points, I've never really found a Space Marine, Imperial Space Marine anyway, matchup that's really competitive at all.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of surprises me because when I was putting the Salamander list together, Marines have so many options available to them. Like pretty much any gun you could think of. There are so many different types of units that, like, how come they can't win? Like, what makes them so terrible?
Well, I think it's kind of like that jack of all trades, master of none, and this extends to heretics too. But we'll focus on the Imperial now. You can be pretty shooty, but there are other armies that can be more shooty, right? Like if you want to have all plasma guns, you can pull that off with the company veterans and other groups. Mm-hmm. But you're still going to be less effective than, say, like Mechanicum, who are going to have more plasma calibers at cheaper cost, or Militarum, who are going to have more plasma guns at cheaper cost, or even, there are some Eldar or Drukhari configurations that can be pretty shooty. So you can be really effective at shooting, but in numbers and cost, that mean that every model you lose is a huge blow.
Mm-hmm. That's true. They don't really have cheap units, right? I guess scouts would be it.
But scouts aren't that cheap either, and with the guns they can get, a scout costs about as much as a Scion, but in Tempestus Scion and the Militarum list, mm-hmm. But they can take plasma guns or flamers or the hot shot volley guns.
Right.
So on the flip side, then you got jack of all trades, master of none. Let's talk about heretics for a minute. Mm-hmm. Less effective than vanilla Marines when it comes to like the shootiness, because you have a lot more limits in place on special weapons and heavy weapons.
Right.
You don't have as many awesome close combat war gear options like a relic blade and a storm shield.
Yeah.
With elites, they got berserkers, but berserkers clock in at least 16 points per model, and while they're really good, they're squishier than they should be.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was playing Tau with a heretics list, and I got one berserker in close, and he did some damage, but all the others got shot at long range because if you got an opponent who can prioritize, they're going to take them out.
Right. Do you think when Marines go up to 2 wounds, would that make a hell of a lot of difference? Or is there just way too many high damage weapons that it doesn't really matter?
Well, it kind of depends on who you're facing. And,
I mean-
and also, do we think that they're going to make the what are they called? What are the old Marines called now? They're called the what are they called? It's the Primaris, and there's another name they came up with for the small guys.
Firstborn?
Firstborn, that's it. Are they gonna get 2 wounds in Kill Team? Do you think?
I imagine it would carry over. That's kind of a big deal.
So then, what's gonna make Primaris stand out now?
Nothing really.
I guess they get an extra attack.
I mean, there's some cool units, like, but not for Kill Team, but there's that squad of dudes, the Primaris, that just have meltas, like long range meltas.
Those guys do look really cool. So when Primaris came on the scene, honestly, I was really against it because I grew up in the firstborn Marine mindset, and I grew so attached to them, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, there's better ones now? Like, how is that gonna, with the lore too? You got all these like heroes in the firstborn, and we'd have to push the timeline forward in such a way that would make them irrelevant. Mm-hmm. What's your take on Primaris?
It seems like a marketing gimmick, but that's just me.
I mean, I guess they had to come up with a reason for people to buy all new Marine armies.
Yeah, I feel like they got so much better with casting and sculpting that they're like, we should make a new line to showcase how much better we got at actually creating models.
They have really gotten amazing though with the models.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail nowadays.
And they're just constructed so much better. And the plastic is great. Like I know I'm usually like, kind of being cynical about some of this stuff. But like, man, like those Death Guard models I bought, they are so detailed.
Right. As primarily a painter, yeah, that really makes me excited to see such intricate detail work that I can really get in there.
And I know you're primarily a painter, but you do run. I mean, your main is usually Emperor's Children.
Yeah.
In Kill Team, and that's less of a belief in their viability or excellence, more just because you love the lore and the look and the army. What's the hardest army to play against as Emperor's Children?
Probably Horde armies. I think I struggled against because, well, yeah, you could take a couple of flamers, but if they know what they're doing, they'll target them first, and then you really only you're picking off one model at a time.
And if you're Emperor's Children, you also can't get Berserkers, right?
Right.
What's the alternative? I mean, like Possessed, as cool as they are, I don't think that they're viable.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't really do much. Like he was hard to kill, and I think he did some work maybe once or twice, but I just took some standard Chaos Marines with chainswords if I needed someone to hold an objective and chop people up.
I mean, if those chainswords get the -1 AP with the update, they actually could be okay.
Yeah, because Emperor's Children attack first.
I mean, they do. I was kind of thinking, was that their motto? Emperor's Children attack. I think their motto is more like Emperor's Children, sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Children of the Emperor, death to his foes.
So let's do an exercise. Like
they say it ironically, though.
It's kind of like Alpha Legion with For the Emperor. I love that. I think that is so. I don't know. Like, is it ironic? I mean, maybe some mean it like seriously. But it's just so in character.
Who knows?
So let's do an exercise for both Heretics and Astartes. So Imperial and Chaos. I'm going to give us a enemy, and then I want to hear your take. How would you beat him?
Okay.
And I'm gonna go with some of the gatekeeper top of the meta teams right now. So for me, those are Drukhari. Tau in my local region is still one that we have some trouble beating, although I had some success against them recently. And I think we should also talk about Asuryani, even though I don't think you and I play them all that often because there aren't that many Asuryani players where we are.
Mhm.
But I think they're kind of recognized as top of the meta. So let's start with Tau, man. All right, you're Emperor's Children. You're going up against Tau. How are you going to beat them?
Are we assuming drone span? Drone span?
I would, because I think like the meta in Tau is you get the 3 rail rifles, you do drone spam, you get that one drone which takes away the obscurement penalty. I think it's the recon drone.
Mhm.
That seems to be like the list to beat when it comes to Tau.
Mhm. So I guess you just have to rely on line of sight blocking, make smart movements, try not to get shot at. I think is it the autocannon, the Reaper autocannon?
Or no, it's just the auto can. The Reaper auto can is the one the Terminator takes.
Right. So the regular one that does 2 damage.
Mm-hmm.
That served me pretty well, especially being able to shoot twice. I guess take out any high value targets that aren't guarded by drones.
But here's the thing with that I ran into. So if you're playing against a good Tau player, they're going to have a couple rail rifles at some place in relative cover. Because they will have a recon drone, they're going to get a advantage over you because they won't have to get the obscurement penalty for at least one. And we'll probably have a comms. As a Heretic Astartes, the only way you can get a comms specialist, which gives you the +1 to shoot, is if you take a Terminator. Which few people do. So I mean, even if you're trying to go up against them with your autocannon versus their rail rifle, they're at an advantage.
It's true. So hide. I'd like to see Harlequin versus Tau.
Well, I mean, with Harlequin, the one benefit is you can charge from a lot farther away. But with so they have Tau have a couple things which kind of fuck up charging, which is if you, or I should say, Tau have a couple things which mess up charging. Which is one, they have for the greater good, right? So everyone can shoot you if you're within charging or Overwatch distance. The other one is for 2 points, they can take a tactic for 2 command points, which will enable them to hit you on Overwatch on a 4-up. So in some cases, they're actually hitting you on Overwatch more effectively than they would in the shooting phase.
Right. Makes sense.
So my brother mains orcs, and he has a really fun tactic that kind of obviates this, which is he hides a ammo runt behind his knob, and because they can't see the runt because he's completely obscured by the knob, he can charge and get them all in a close combat, and then they can't do Overwatch.
Right.
So he calls it like the runt leapfrog. Could you hide a cultist behind a marine and get them in like charge range?
I don't think there's a big enough marine.
I don't think so either.
Even that you might have difficulties with a Terminator. Best out of my box.
But yeah, I think you're right. Like you just have to accept you're at a disadvantage. Your shooty models aren't shooty compared to the other team. Your attacky models are at a serious disadvantage for trying to get into combat. So you got to use line of sight and movement and try to draw the Tau guy into messing things up.
Yeah, even the Terminator, they can't hide behind.
And I mean, the one benefit is the drones aren't really good at shooting and don't have any AP, but if you're relying on cultist spam, they're going to shred your cultists.
Right. And so, they defer wounds to the drone, right?
Right.
That's their whole thing.
Yeah, shoot the drone first, which is another good rule. So I guess take a lot of tactical Chaos Marines, try to use them to draw out the drones, and then get them in close combat, and just, use the lanes and positioning to completely obscure the snipers, or with the not sniper specialists, just the folks that have the rail rifles.
Because it'll be quite difficult to outgun them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And for what it's worth, I know you play Emperor's Children. I usually play just like Renegade chapters, so I can use the reroll charges. But like Berserkers, if you can't be creative and charge from cover, you're going to get shredded.
But yeah, they're strong, but they're squishy.
If I had like Thousand Suns, I would, which I've had some success against Tau with Thousand Suns. You can use line of sight effectively and use the psychic powers on the the drones and just kind of take them out one by one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot harder. So what about Astartes, right? If you're Astartes, you don't have the benefit of the cultist that can go capture the points. Like, what the hell would you do with like an Imperial Astartes list?
Yeah. My mind jumped to the suppressor, but I think any Tau player that knows what he's doing is going to space out the drones so that they're not going to get caught in the aura, I guess, that it creates.
So what does that do? It kind of, other models can't shoot if they're within, what is it, 2 inches of the affected model?
I think it's 2 inches. If you hit a model, anything around it cannot shoot. But yeah, the whole point, I guess, is spacing them out so that you can't do stuff like that. Rapid fire, target 2 different drones at once, that kind of thing. Kind of like how you leapfrogged your Tyranids. It's all about positioning.
And the other thing is the suppressor's 30 points, or 29, but that's pretty close.
Yeah, he did a lot of work, though, against Martin.
Yeah, our friend who played, oh man, what did he play? Guard, I think, right?
Yeah.
So that accelerator autocannon that the suppressor has, it's heavy 2, 48-inch range, so it's got a much better range. Strength 7, AP -2, 2 damage. So if you can get a hit off, any model that takes damage can't shoot, and any models within 2 inches of it can't shoot. So if your opponent isn't spacing his models, and even if the drone takes the hit, like, it's going to hose up all his little guys in a group.
And I think the, for lack of a better word, lookout, sir. That Tau is the aura is bigger than 2 inches, right?
Yeah. You mean the Greater Good Overwatch?
The one where you can defer attacks to the drone.
Oh yeah, I think it's either 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think it's probably more than 2, so right, that you would only be able to target 1 with the suppressing fire.
So I guess, like, the answer is there's not an answer. Like, this is why, and Kill Team, for how balanced it is in general, and that's just because there's rarely one group that dominates every meta of every contest. Like, people always find like a way to beat it. There really is. Yeah, go ahead.
What about a Smash Captain? Just give him a Storm Shield and a jetpack.
Interesting. So the idea there, what, Storm Shield's a 3-up invuln?
4-up, I think.
And if that, I think it's a 3-up. It might be a 4-up. You actually, you might be right. It might be.
Custodes got 3-up just because their Battleforge ability increased their invuln save by 1.
Yeah, dude, Custodes really, because now I can have either a 4-up. Yeah, you're right. So with Custodes, I think I get a 3-up with my guy, but I think you're right. So Savior Protocols, that's the drone. They can block a shot. Savior. That's 3 inches.
That's what it was.
Interesting. And then what we were just trying to verify the Smash Captain and the Storm Shield, right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's loading. So interesting points there.
It'd be expensive.
It would be expensive. The other thing is, like, I know I was just saying this a little while ago that the AP of the chainsword, if it gets upgraded in the new rules, is going to be great. But at the same time, combat Marines, like, there are just so many other teams that are better at combat than they are. And if you lose one model, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Company veteran. I think they're the ones. Oh, no, it's a Vanguard veteran. So I mean, that just goes to kind of the point I was trying to make. If you're Astartes or Heretics and you're playing against Tau, like, their mobs are better than your mobs, so they can get all of the drones are just better than cultists, and their shooting is better than your shooting. So you kind of just have to suck it up and use movement to try to get an advantage.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Tau. It's all about movement. It's all about blocking.
It's the best I got.
No, Storm Shield's a 3-up invul, so I have confirmed. So actually, I like your idea. If you have a Smash Captain, even if you've got let's say it's got 3 rail rifles next to each other, and one of them pops the 2 command point thing to try to get a 4-up shot. The other thing they have is they have one of their seps, their like faction bonus is they can reroll ones. So if you got 3 guys shooting you, 2 shots each for Overwatch, there's a reasonably good chance that at least 1 or 2 shots are going to get through. But if you've got a storm shield, you're probably going to be able to soak them up, or just save the reroll, and you'll probably be able to reroll it.
Yeah.
So actually,
or, best case scenario, the jump pack gives you the fly keyword. So if you can charge from complete cover,
that's a great idea.
You're not taking Overwatch.
So Tom, I think we've stumbled on something. If you're playing Tau, having a Smash Captain that can neutralize their back end, like firing squad, could actually be a really viable way to take them out.
Or use them as a distraction Carnifex and have everyone target him first round while your dudes, your real threats, try to eliminate as many as they can.
So I played, I was a Militarum recently, and I have a Gottfried de Montbard model. It's not, I told you I actually converted a different model, but the point is it acts as Gottfried, so he's got a 3-up invuln. That's exactly what happened. So like I destroyed the tab because he kept shooting at that guy because he was worried about it, while everyone else was fanning out and getting all my secondaries and capturing all my points. All right, so if you're an Astartes player, try a Smash Captain against Tau. Tell us how it works. If you're a Heretics player,
you're boned.
You're boned. You got nothing. You're outmatched. Try to use movement and line of sight as best you can. And by the way, we're talking about all open board. I guess Arena changes everything.
Yeah.
So in Arena, you're much better off as Heretics, because then your charges might actually work. You're not going to have like an open board with all those like targeting lanes. So that's a different story.
But there is that tactic in Arena that lets you hold Overwatch until you become visible.
For 1 point though, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if they're doing that though, they probably can't also for 2 points do the tactic where they get to make Overwatch rolls on a 4-up.
That's true.
Because that's 3 points. Like that's pretty ridiculous.
But by the time you get across board to charge, they would have saved up a few.
Maybe. Yeah, it's a fair point. Although now that drones can't open doors, like that kind of obviates their effectiveness a little bit in Arena.
That's true.
So Arena, don't use the Smash Captain. Use Flamers, I guess, right?
That's what I did.
And in open board, use a Smash Captain. And if you're Heretics in Arena, Berserkers are a much better idea. And in open board, you just gotta pray that your sightlands are gonna keep your cultists safe. All right, so that's Tau. I feel pretty good about that. That was almost like a coherent answer, wasn't it?
Almost like we know what we're talking about.
Almost. I mean, I lose a lot. But we have fun, so that's all that matters, right?
Right. It's
all
not
right, so
whether you win or lose.
It's a little bit if you... I don't know why. It is so hard to have fun if you're losing. Like, if it's a close game, it's fine. But when you're getting blown out, it's just like, well, God.
It's kind of the opposite. When we used to play, I did the most ridiculous shit just because it was unexpected. I was having a blast.
Yeah. I mean, there was one game where you took salamanders and I was Death Guard, and I think you tabled me in the first round. I was like, what just happened?
Well, that heavy grav cannon, that did some work that game.
Oh, that thing is so good. The grav cannon against the Death Guard is so good.
Yeah.
And you had the guy with a jump pack with 2 plasma pistols.
The Moritat, yeah.
That guy was good.
It's like, how ridiculous can I be?
I think you got 2 damage and somehow it was a flesh wound with the 1 plasma pistol, and then you did the other plasma pistol because you get separate damage rolls. I was like, yeah, he's dead. Oh no, you know what it was? Because you have 2 different guns, you can target 2 different guys. I think you killed 2 Death Guard with that guy with the first turn. That was the moment when everyone else playing Kill Team realized that Death Guard weren't the top. I think you got there just a little bit before they did.
You can't counter my strategy if I don't have one.
I was taking a drink. Now you've played my trap card. All right. You ever played Drukhari before?
Yeah, actually, but it was just a list of entire mandrakes.
Mandrakes, I think their models look real cool. Like, I actually really like I know they're resin and blah, 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 but they look cool.
Yeah.
And they're fine. Like, they're not bad. They're good utility. They can deep strike, blah, blah, blah. When I play, so it's funny. Like, I always thought that the rack lists were, like, way good. Mm-hmm. And then I was Heretics, and my friend who plays Drukhari randomly did a Kabbalite group and just destroyed me. I was like, oh, whatever. They're not that good. Yeah, they're good. The Dark Lance sucks. The Shredder is like a melt-a-gun. That sucks. They got a lot of splinter cannons. So, all right. So let's start with Kabbalites. If you're Astartes and you're playing Kabbalites, what do you do? Well, you're not going to know, right? Because I guess you're just going to know they're Drukhari. So let's go more broadly. Yeah. You're Astartes, they're Drukhari. What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you would have to look at what they're unpacking to see if they brought Kabbalites or witches.
So cheat. Got it. Good. Next.
Because they run so differently, right? Kabbalites, all they do, like, they're really more shooty focused, and the witches are up close. So it's kind of hard to plan. You know, even if they have both in their command list, they can change it on the whim.
True.
I always thought it would be fun to play. Never got around to buying a box, though.
Of what, the Drukhari?
Yeah.
They do seem like a lot of fun because you can play them so many different ways. But the thing which really sucks is to get a viable kill team, you have to buy like 8 boxes of random stuff.
Yeah. 1 Clivex.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, that Clivex is nasty. Like, at 16 points, he's got 2 wounds, he's got power armor, his weapon is like, I think, -3 or -4 AP. That dude is good. That's an auto include, pretty much.
And he looks pretty badass, too.
Yeah, the Incubi do look really good. It's like the only Dark Eldar model. I'm like, oh, that guy's tight. Actually, I guess Racks look kind of cool, too. But, okay, so let's say you're playing, the guy is unpacking, he's pulling out Racks. If he's playing Racks, he almost certainly is going to take the 4-up invuln save, which combined with the 6-up feel no pain, they're going to be pretty rough. They're also way cheap, so you can get 2 of those bad boys for the same price as 1 Marine, and they get I think they get 2 attacks base, which are like auto wound on a 4-up. Mm-hmm. So they got good close combat. They also typically have like a liquefier gun or a what is that? The ossifactor.
Yeah.
So they're going to be able to control more of the board. Yeah, go ahead. What are you going to do?
I got no idea.
Well, with Astartes, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to want multi-damage weapons because they have the feel no pain and the invuln. Well, no, because they got an invuln, so the AP. So first of all,
rate of fire, I guess.
Yeah, rate of fire, and don't worry about AP, basically.
Yeah. As many shots as you can get off.
So let's see. What's good? Like storm bolters are probably good. It's like 4 shots at half range.
Take your rapid fires.
Oh, flamers.
Flamers, yes.
That's how I used like an all flamer and Pius Vorn Militarum group, and they just wiped his racks. Okay, so get a lot of flamers. Try to control the board. I don't think a Smash Captain's going to help you that much for the points.
Yeah, probably not. It'd be funny. So
it would be. it would be funny. That is true. Except you're throwing around your Thunder Hammer or whatever, and he's blocking it on a 4-up. I'm trying to think of what else could you. I mean, like Lightning Claw, no, because you don't need the AP. All right, so get some heavy bolters, get some storm bolters, get some flamers. Try to do a rate of fire. They're not going to have a ton of long range unless they take mandrakes. They're going to have some decent close combat between mandrakes and incubi. Mm-hmm. So probably try to maybe like Blood Angels, so all your leaders could have hand flamers.
Yeah, Inferno pistols are cool.
Because then you got they get +1 to wound, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So +1 to wound with a
In close
bunch of
combat, right?
Yeah, totally. So that's another thing is the whole question, like, can Astartes be viable close combat guys? I don't know.
Mhm.
Do you have I mean, Salamanders I think is the one you play usually. Is that your favorite Astartes faction bonus?
It has the most use, I think, versatility, being able to reroll in every phase. But personally, I'd probably go with Blood Angels just because I like close combat.
And that's a place where like the assault intercessors could be good. But your point, so you could have realistically a bunch because they're company veterans and Vanguard veterans and etc. You know, the veteran groups can take hand flamers for free.
Mhm.
So it's D6 shots, but it's only strength 3, or is it D3 shots? I think it's D6. To the what is this thing? To the app.
The Inferno pistol, I think, is a melted pistol, right?
But that's not going to be that valuable against Iraq because they have an invuln, and they cost like 8 points.
True.
Yeah, Inferno pistol's 8 points. Hand flamer is free if you're Blood Angel.
Gotcha.
Although I agree, like Inferno pistols are cool, like objectively they're cool. So hand flamer, it's only D3, so it's pistol D3, strength 3, auto hits. So that's not that great. If you had 2 of them, you're getting 2 D3, so you're gonna on average gonna get 3 hits.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's not that great, but something close combat for the Incubus. Maybe the Storm Shield actually would be good against the Incubus because you have the 3-up invuln.
I'm a fan of the invuln. Although it didn't seem to help when I played Harlequins. They still dropped like flies.
How much is the base troop member for a Harlequin team cost?
I want to say 15 or 16 points.
Well, so that's the thing, because Iraq is like 7 or 8 points.
It's like, I hit you with my Harlequin's quick kiss. Flesh wound.
Yeah.
I hit you back. Oh, you failed your invuln. I'm dead. It's like, you son of a bitch.
Dude, that would be the worst flesh wound.
So players are base 12 points, but when you give them the weapons, they go up.
So base 12, and you're playing against a guy who has the same 4-up invuln, and arguably, they're toughness 4 and stuff. So
that's if they have a shuriken pistol and a Harlequin blade. But you want to give
is
them
the
better
Harlequin
weapons.
blade just like +1 attack or something?
No, not even. It's strength 3, AP 0, 1 damage.
So it doesn't do anything additionally?
No.
All right, so a rack is 8 points base. So for 2/3 of the cost of the Harlequin, you get a weapon which always wounds on a 4-up, 2 base attacks, a 4-up invuln, and a 6-up feel no pain. Yeah. And the 6-up feel no pain, by the way, comes from the power from pain. It's not endemic to the model.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so get a Smash Captain to deal with your Incubi and your Mandrakes. Otherwise, get a lot of flamers as much as you can to take up ground. So we never talk about this, but White Scars seem like they're a pretty good group for movement phase.
Yeah, that's their whole thing.
Because they get +2 to charge in advance, and they can charge even if they aren't in combat anymore.
Gotta go fast.
So and yet they're not painted red. So go figure. All right, so now let's flip it. Your Heretic Astartes against Drukhari. What do you do?
Well, I think the same principles apply, right? You gotta wait a fire. Don't worry so much about AP. I don't know if they really have too many weapons that are capable of doing that.
So a Berserker with a chainsword, that's 3 attacks times 2. So that's a really good matchup against a rack.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to have 6 attacks against the racks too, and they're actually strength 5, so they're going to be pretty good.
I forgot about Berserkers. My mind doesn't go to them because I can't use them.
That's true. So I took a Berserker heavy list thinking I was going to play racks, and then he took Kabbalites, and I just got shot off the map basically. But I think Berserkers against racks are pretty good. Cultists with flamers wouldn't be too bad. You can only have 2 of them though.
Okay.
Plasma gun's not really going to be that useful because it's 2 damage. The 2 damage is good, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So you don't have anything super good, but the Berserkers are actually pretty effective against racks, just not against the Incubus. And Actually, you know what? A Terminator might not be bad against Rax.
Yeah.
Maybe. Especially if you're like a combi flamer.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side, if you're playing Kabalites, you need, let's see, so they're reasonably shooty.
Yeah. And they have really good range, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's not bad. Because like the Shredder's like a melt-a-gun with range 18. So against Kabalites, you probably want like the Reaper, or not the Reaper, the autocannon, plasma gun. What else? There's nothing else you can take pretty much. Because they got too many high damage weapons that would wipe a Terminator or a Possessed.
Yeah.
So if you're playing a smart Drukhari player, they're going to go Kabalites against Heretics and Rax against Astartes.
Smash Captain.
Still the Smash Captain?
I mean, at the end of the day, they're still strength 3, toughness 3, right?
The Kabalites?
The Capitalites.
Yeah, that's true.
Same with witches.
And their armor's not that good. I think it's only a 5-up. All right, so we talked about Drukhari. Let's do one more. I don't know a ton about Astartes because I haven't played them. I know that they have some very nuanced units that you have to micromanage. It's kind of like Protoss from StarCraft. Did you ever play StarCraft?
Yeah.
What was your group?
Zerg Rush.
Yeah, it was Zerg Rush too. Although I never played that. I played it online once and I got just destroyed.
So the only thing I know about Astartes is that you can't overwatch Howling Banshees.
There's that. I know the Striking Scorpion Exarch has some nasty weapons and power armor. I know there's a Dire Avenger Exarch that can take like 2 really good shuriken catapults for free. So he's like dual wielding. They have that heavy weapon platform. And then if you want really, really tough units, they can take the Wraith Guard and Wraith Blades.
Wraith Knights.
So, yeah, I don't know. And I mean, they're I guess Guardians aren't that great, right?
Was there anyone who played Eldar?
There was one guy in that tournament I played out of Springfield, Virginia, and he won the tournament. So he knew his shit.
Yeah.
But that's also because nobody knew what was going on. They're like, oh, that guy has toughness 6. What the hell? I didn't know Eldar had toughness. I think that's or maybe it's toughness 5, but the Wraith Guard are really tough.
Yeah. I don't think there was anyone in the campaign.
So your standard Guardian is like 6 points.
So they could be Hordy if they wanted.
So, I think with Heretics, have a good mix of cultists, maybe some flamers in there, maybe take a couple berserkers and just try to avoid the Banshee until they're in combat and then charge them. I don't have too much here. Use movement to your advantage and try not to forget that they have like 18 different units that can kill you.
There you go.
What about Imperial Astartes?
Smash Captain.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. I knew it. If you don't say it, I'm going to be disappointed. And you didn't disappoint. How many Smash Captains could you? What if you just had like 3 Smash Captains and 2 Scouts?
So what I wanted to do, if we ever got season 3 of the campaign going, that we couldn't because that was around the time COVID hit.
Yeah.
I wanted to make because that would have been just fluffy, right? If you brought a quote unquote competitive list, you would get shamed. So right. So so I wanted to make, I guess, Blood Angels that count as, like, for fluff purposes, they would be Chaos, like Fallen Blood Angels, Servants of the Truth, homebrew chapter. But that list was going to be all jetpacks and lightning claws, and I was basically just going to have 5 warp talons that ran up the field and mulched people.
Wait, isn't a warp talon is the like a raptor, right?
Yeah, they're raptors
but
that
you were
have lightning claws.
But you were going to run them as just like jump pack equipped lightning claws guys.
Yeah, so Astartes are allowed to have enough veterans with jump. I was going to take 5 of them. Have them fly
that would
up
be
the
fun
field.
to model.
Yeah.
I actually really like the warp talon models. They look cool.
I did bash one as a test. I bashed the light warp talon with a sanguinary guard because I really liked the wings. So he was basically a warp talon, except the sanguinary guard chest and death mask and the wings. But like all the chaosy bits, he looked pretty cool, black and red.
That's tight.
And the death mask, of course, was still gold with blood dripping out of the eyes.
Did you show me that one?
Probably.
That's pretty cool. All right, you know what? That's enough tactic stuff. Look, we've been serious for too long. Let's just do wish list. What do you wish in the new Kill Team add-on or Kill Team camp? What do you call it? Supplement that they're putting out, because they are putting one out. People, they've teased it. They had a video I think in October that showed like a new flayed one, doing some kind of hijinks as they do.
Pariah Nexus.
Yeah. What other units do you want to see in Kill Team, or what updates do you want to see?
Knights.
Are you trying to segue to part 2 of this?
No, I was just thinking, and it kind of goes back to the Indominus models getting Kill Team rules. The article literally said all of the Indominus models were getting Kill Team rules.
So the guys on bikes.
Yeah, there were bikers in that box.
That's
and Scorpec Lord, like, how do you have him in game? They would have to be super high cost.
Yeah, I don't know how the hell are you gonna do that? There's no might as well just take dreadnoughts.
Right.
I've got 2 that came to mind from this episode. One is Death Company.
Okay.
Just because I like them. I think they're fun to paint and they look good.
Yeah.
I've always wanted Legion of the Damned and Kill Team.
Yeah.
I love. Well, they went on the what is that thing where they're out of circulation now?
Legends.
Yeah. So they're in the Legends, so nobody's gonna see them for a while. But I know maybe people are gonna complain there's too much like non-Xeno stuff anyway, which is a completely fair thing to point out. But I just love Legion of the Damned. They're so fun to paint and they look so cool.
My Sonic Dreadnought went into Legends recently.
Wait, which one did? Oh, yeah. It'll come back.
I doubt it.
What about, I would also, look, for the wish list, you can pick your Eldar model. They all need new models and new...
Seriously?
Dark Reapers would be cool.
Yeah. I think there are some Tyranid models that are old enough to drink.
That are still in circulation?
Yeah.
Well, don't they still have some of the Phoenix Lords that you can buy?
Maybe.
Here, let's look it up. Games Workshop, Phoenix... Because they had, what is it, Baharoth or whatever, Osterman.
Mm.
Yeah, the Osterman model it's temporarily out of stock, but that's from like 3rd edition, I think, right, or 2nd edition. He's tiny, little tiny metal model.
Usually, temporarily out of stock means they're redoing the package, but for such a, I don't know.
And they've got. Baharoth too. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Swooping Hawks. Those would be kind of cool. That model is so old. Trying to see when did it actually come out. It's at least 1994 because that's the first time I saw it.
Wow.
All right. So Eldar players, we feel the pain, guys. We know. Don't be sad. You guys got Shining Spears 20 years ago. God, that was 20 years ago. All right. Enough of this. Let's talk nights, man. You want to talk nights?
Sure.
It's night where I am. Is it night where you are? Yes, it is. We're in the same time zone.
EST.
EST. I'm not proud of that. So what made you recently decide you were going to purchase a night model?
I got a bunch of gift cards for Christmas, and I said, that looks fun as shit to paint.
And which one did you buy?
I got the Desecrator / Rampager.
Okay, so that's the same one, and the Desecrator's got like what's the difference? One has 2 close combat, and one has like a battle cannon.
Yeah, so the Rampager has the Thunderstrike Gauntlet and Reaper Chainsword, and then the Desecrator has a Laser Destructor.
I'm not gonna lie, I just got my pulse quickened when you said that.
And then they can take either one of the melee weapons.
And is so I remember back in the day when they used to put out like Chaos themed vehicles, it would just be the normal vehicle plus like a Chaos bits sprue.
Right.
Is it the same thing, or is it like a pretty different dedicated kit?
So this one, the Desecrator and Rampager, these are fairly new, right? Well, newer, I guess. They are wholly chaosy. There's nothing imperial about them. They're quite spiky. They have the the sort of backward knee kind of thing, like
like the grasshopper legs,
like a predator, yeah. But yeah, all spiky bits and armor. But like the other knights, like the despoiler, is just a chaos version of all the other knights are pretty much do it yourself, paint it with chaos colors.
So that's interesting. So the Imperial Knights have like humanoid legs, and the Chaos Knights have the grasshopper like extra joint legs.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. That's a pretty cool difference.
Yeah, I think they wanted to make it look more predatory.
I think it looks cooler. Like I'm looking at all of them right now.
Yeah.
All right. So you thought it would be fun to paint. How long did it take to put this bad mama jamma together?
He's still not completely together. I'm doing sub-assemblies because there are some parts that are hard to reach, if you put it all. And then I want to magnetize the weapons. Got to figure out how to do that. They're still
Is this the biggest model you've ever undertaken?
Yes, by quite a large margin. So the chainsword is almost as big as a beer, as long as a beer can. Just the chainsword itself.
I don't know how to feel about that.
It's pretty big. The each of the shoulder pads are almost as large as a Baden's base. I think he's on like a 50 or 60 millimeter base. It's really big, and I can't wait.
So next question. I know that there was a meta for a while where it was just chaos or knights. Like knights was the army to beat. Do you know a little bit about that?
So wasn't it the Loyal 32 and a Castellan?
Yes, I think so.
So you just have your CP generating battalion with all your dudes, and then because the knight was just so good, it was pretty much an army all by itself. But I think that's all fairly changed, right? They realized their mistake.
Are they? And it's just that they're so tough and they have so many wounds that it just takes forever to try to take them out.
Yeah, they definitely learned their lesson when they released the Chaos Knights. Yeah, the Chaos Knights is a new codex, right?
I think so.
Fairly. Yeah, no, they seem pretty balanced for the point cost. Once you start scaling everything up, sure it costs more, but it has more wounds and it does more damage, and you kind of get what you pay for. I don't yet know, so the Desecrator and the Rampager are probably garbage to use in game, but it just looked like a lot of fun to paint up.
I mean, it looks tight. It's a undeniably cool model.
Yeah. I think the best option they have for Chaos is the Despoiler, which is just a preceptor that you paint. That's one of the Imperial Knights that you just have to paint chaosy.
So they fundamentally shook the meta because it shifted it from an obviously army focused army to one where you could really just have one or two models. I just don't see how could they be competitive unless is the point you just cannot take them down.
Yeah. You could take more than one. They're not that expensive. I don't see the point cost, just the power.
And then talking fluff wise, here's my other issue. We had to suddenly retcon a whole large amount of the fluff to make these guys fit in because they had, not really been a part of the game for so long. Although I think back in the original part, they were maybe an epic, the small scale. Mm-hmm. So my understanding is it's kind of like they're Titans, but they're smaller. And rather than being owned by a Titan Legion, it's like families have inherited them over time. So it's kind of like one might be associated with several members of the same family, house, or lineage. Is that pretty true?
Yeah. All right, I just got it here. The Desecrator is just over 400 points.
Oh, that's not that many.
Yeah. So you could definitely take a decent number of models. Yeah. So I guess how on the nose GW can be unsubtle. They're called knights kind of for a reason, right? They originally knights were relics from before the Dark Age that nobody really knows where they just sort of were. And yeah, I guess you're right. They were kind of like BattleTech, one pilot per knight, and they were basically used in super far off planets away from the Imperium that wouldn't have a lot of contact. So they kind of had to be self-sufficient. So they were given a knight in order to protect their settlement, and then they sort of became a feudal planet based around this one protector guy, and then it became like an heirloom. That it became like the noble houses sprung up, and it was passed down to generations, and then the Mechanicum showed up. So apparently the STC pattern for knights is like super common. Every Forge World has one, and they're really easy to produce. So the Mechanicum went around to all the feudal planets, all the feudal worlds, and said, "Hey, if you you give us ore and food and resources, and then every set period of time, usually about a year, we'll come back. You give us, what you have, and we'll give you a new knight." So that they basically were knights working for their lord, like you would in the Middle Days.
Interesting. I have why would the STC be common though? By the way, for those that don't know, I know this whole episode is kind of like, if you're not super into Warhammer, this isn't going to be as relevant to you. So we should put like a warning on the front end. Hey, we're going super deep nerd on this one. But so the STC standard template construct is essentially like a piece of technology. It's like a data blueprint, like hard drive blueprint that's got everything you need to know about how to create some piece of technology and then scale it at a high level. So I imagine, like, Tom, my understanding of this is it doesn't just contain like, hey, here's a what is that called? Like the blueprint that has the the images of what's on the inside and the individual components, but it might also include what like raw materials you need to create those components, like techniques to create factories to create those components, and then ways to mass produce a lot of the other pieces that you might need to create that thing. So if you find an STC for, I don't know, let's say Bluetooth headphones, it would include blueprints on how does Bluetooth technology work, right? How do you get the transmitter? Where do you how would you generate electricity and capture that so that you can have a portable device, that kind of thing.
And they're super valuable.
Because that's basically how the Imperium stays afloat. Yeah, they don't understand their technology. They find these things and other records and then use that to recreate things that have been lost. Why would you have all of these? Oh, well, knights are real easy, so here you go.
In a just a one-off thing that sort of made the Mechanicum jizz their pants.
Yeah, maybe. You mean they're toasters?
That too. No, they just have. It's super easy. Everyone has one.
I want one. But okay, so they've got all these things. They become pretty common. It becomes a rite of passage.
But they were still like gate kept by the Mechanicum. In order to get resources. What are they? Tithes?
Yeah.
Land resource tithe. I forget what specifically the tithe was called. But yeah, they would get what they needed and then give these feudal worlds a new titan. And then the houses got pretty hoity-toity about, oh, we have knights, we're cool. That's as far as I got.
So aren't there also, not Imperium, Mechanicum aligned knights?
Yeah. So, I mean, I know the Chaos versions, the different houses. I guess they're like they give you different Legion traits, crunch wise. But the different houses are either Infernal, Iconoclast, or Dreadblade. The Infernal houses fell to Chaos. The Iconoclast houses pledged to the Dark Mechanicum, and the Dreadblades are one particular knight that fell but didn't take their entire house with them. So they're just kind of like one-off mercenary type knights. And then each thing gets their own abilities and rules. I don't have the codex.
You don't need it. You do everything. All right. So now I feel like I know the lore. So I guess if you have a knight that's in an Imperial army, it's because they're like, hey, we need some help, and they loaned him out. If you've got a knight in a Chaos army, it's because they joined a war band. All right. I guess it feels very much like Mech Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you remember the Mech Warrior lore, I don't know if you were ever into this, but I like the Mech Warrior games, so I tried reading a couple of the books back in the day. I mean, they were okay. Not anywhere near as good as some of the Warhammer stuff. But it was, essentially you inherited your mech, and it passed along the lines, and you were kind of like not quite a soldier, but not quite like a baron. Like, it was kind of like it enabled you to have status in a certain class in society.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. I still think I'd rather have Titans.
Yeah.
And I mean, like from a scale purpose, these are what, like half the size of a Titan, or half the height, I should say.
That's a good question. So the chest, the body, I guess, houses one pilot. But I remember in the Horus Heresy books, there were like elevators that took you up the Titan's legs, right? There was a whole team of dudes operating that thing, right?
So no, they're nowhere near. Okay. So they're basically, it's like people say, man, mechs are super cool. I wish I could have Titans, and Games Workshop saying, how can we take it? Hey, you know what would be cool? Let's invent the Tau. And then somebody was like, a couple years later, hey, that was kind of dumb. Let's not do that. Well, it's too late. We already created them, and some people like them inexplicably. All right, well, fair enough. But how do we get cool mechs instead of these lame Gundam mechs? What if it's knights? What if it's these knights? Yeah, and it's like a couple guys, and it's like your thing, and you travel around the world or the cosmos looking for fights with your knights. And and you can have good knights and bad knights. Let's do that. And 5 or 6 years later, and hundreds of thousands of dollars later, wherever we are today.
Titanicum.
Yeah. All right. You've answered my questions, Tom. I started this whole thing kind of like against them, but honestly, the models are really cool.
Mm-hmm. I
can't complain. I see what you like in it. It's tight.
I don't think I have my camera on, but he's pretty cool.
Did you name him?
Jeff.
That's a good name.
Yeah, he's going to be pink.
Because he's an Emperor's Children guy. All right. Well, I can't wait to see Jeff in all his pink glory. Mm-hmm. Anything else we want to cover today? I think that's it.
Yeah.
Well, what do we always say? Good fight, good night.
Adios.
Adios, muchachos. All right. As always, mash like and subscribe. If there's something you'd like us to cover in the future, totally do it. I think tonight, honestly, this conversation came about because Tom and I were literally just looking for time to try to figure out how the hell we could get our armies to beat Tau, Drukhari, and Eldar. But in future, we'll continue covering top fives. We'll cover Kill Team. We'll cover video games. If it's your fandom, we're your tandem.